presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Kansas City.
Royals baseball from the Bronx, New York. It has rained all day, but the tarp is rolled up, and we're getting ready for Game 1 of 4 between the Royals and the New York Yankees. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. This has been a tough place for the Royals, Hud. They've lost 6 of their last 7 here at Yankee Stadium.
No question about it. It's not just tough for the Royals. A lot of teams have had trouble here, Rhino. But look, this Game 1 of 4 here is very important. With Dr. Vargas on the mound, hopefully he can scalp with the corners and keep out of trouble.
We've seen a lot of offense the last 2 series. There were 10 home runs in Minneapolis last year between the Royals and the Twins, and a lot of home runs at Kauffman Stadium for the last series between these 2 teams.
Yeah, you know, the offense is running wild this year as far as the power goes. Look at Salvi. That was a beautiful thing there off of Pineda. And Whitley Merrifield, he went to the fountains too. But still, it's all about pitching. And with Dr. Vargas on the hill, he's got to find a way to keep their bats under control and keep them in the yard.
He's had a great year so far. In his first 7 starts, he gave up 6 runs. But then on Wednesday against the Yankees, he gave up 6 runs. So he gets another shot at them tonight in the Bronx. Michael Pineda will start for the Yankees. It's Game 1 of 4, and the first pitch is coming up next. Sports and outdoors for all, for less. It rained all morning, all afternoon. They just pulled the tarp back less than an hour ago, and now the fans are starting to settle into their seats. 60 degrees. There was rain in the forecast tomorrow, and now it looks like we won't have any issues with rain until Thursday. That'll be the final game of this 4-gamer with the Yankees. Royals offense slowly but surely is coming together. The Royals hit 7 home runs in the doubleheader yesterday at Minnesota. Here's the lineup tonight with no Alex Gordon on the paternity list. He and his wife Jamie welcomed a little baby girl into the world earlier today.
Yeah, congratulations, guys.
So Jorge Bonifacio will take over in left field. Jorge Soler will be in right. Whit Merrifield will bat ninth. He'll be at second base. The Royals, in returning their 26th man with the doubleheader yesterday, returned Raul Mondesi back to the minor leagues, and they have elected to keep Miguel Almonte in the bullpen. Royals have lost 4 of their last 6 games after winning 6 of 7. And during the last homestand, the Royals lost 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. And this is a young Yankees team that may not have big names in its lineup, loaded with current and former All-Stars, but they're really piling up the runs. So Jason Vargas is going to have to be at his best tonight.
Oh, without a doubt, Ryan. And you know, like you said, they got a little speed too, so they're stealing bases. They got some power. You know, their leadoff man, Brett Gardner's getting on base with regularity. You know, interesting, you have a 20 home run guy from last year, Sanchez, hitting the 2-hole. You know, and Aaron Judge in the top 10 in almost every offensive category. They're rookie there. If he can stay healthy, he'll be a rookie of the year for sure.
Joe Girardi is in his 9th year as manager of the Yankees. He's going to come out and join Tony Pena at home plate. They're going over something with the umpiring crew.
Yeah. Oh, they're asking Joe to clean the plate off because he got tossed the other day in Tampa. He covered the thing and they're laughing at him. Jerry Lane, look at that. That's beautiful. He got tossed in Tampa. He threw a little Billy Martin-esque Tampa tantrum, and that's what they were doing. I love that. They're messing with him. That's Jerry Lane. Jerry Lane, the big gentleman right in front of you, right in the middle there. He was the umpire behind the plate when in Fernando's no-hitter, his only no-hitter in his career. He's given Fernando 6 inches off the outside part of the plate. I never let him forget that. There's Jerry.
And now finally the Yankees take the field. Yankees are coming off a road trip where they went 3-3, taking 2 out of 3 from the Royals, and then losing 2 out of 3 from Tampa Bay. They were playing very well when they arrived at Kauffman Stadium last week, but now the Yankees have lost 7 of their last 11 games, but they're still in first place in the East with a half-game lead over the Orioles. And they'll start the big right-hander tonight, Michael Pineda.
Same guy they saw last week. Now, Pineda stayed in the game long. This time they need to find some holes and get him out of there early if they can. You see the 8 walks? That's all he's given up. He's really good. He's been fantastic. His strikeout to walk ratio is second best in the American League this year, so he's good. Fastball, slider, changeup, those are his pitches. Likes to go with the fastball. He'll cut it in. Whitley Merrifield was telling me how it looks like his ball runs in a little bit to right-hander, so it tells me he's got a little 2-seam action. He's good. He throws strikes.
And he's big, 6'7", 260 pounds. And now look at the Yankees defensively behind Pineda tonight.
It's a good-looking defense. Now, we're going to highlight Gregorius right there. Didi, who took over for Derek Jeter a couple seasons ago. This kid can really swing the bat. He's an excellent defender as well. Hicks in center field. Watch out for the Judge in right. There he is, the big fella, having a good year. Got a good arm. He's got 3 outfield assists so far this year.
Yeah, he made a great play in St. Petersburg yesterday, diving play in the outfield. So this has been a tough place for the Royals, losing 6 of their last 7 games. And this is the middle stop of a long road trip. After dropping 2 out of 3 in Minnesota, we'll be here for 4, and then next weekend in Cleveland. On one hand, Alcides Escobar, we've been talking a lot about him the past couple days as he has broken the Royals record for consecutive starts. Tonight is his 215th consecutive start, but he really hasn't gotten going yet at the plate. Escobar is just 8 for his last 52. And here we are getting ready to start game number 44 tonight, and he has yet to attempt a stolen base. And Pineda is very high, and we're underway.
Maybe a little concerning, but I'd like to see him get into his game as quickly as possible.
Shallow right field, and Aaron Judge is there to make the play. One down in the top of the first. Mike Moustakas carries an 8-game hitting streak into tonight's game. He got 2 games off in the Minnesota series, a planned day off on Friday after the late night game with the Yankees and that very late arrival into Minneapolis, and then he didn't play the second game of the doubleheader yesterday. Once again, Pineda's upstairs, 1 ball and no strikes. Two and 0.
See, they're going through their roll call. The fans in the outfield, you can hear them. You know, they say each player's name, and you know they did that in Japan too, Ryan. That's interesting. And you would just acknowledge the people. They would all cheer your name until you acknowledged them.
The bleacher creatures.
Yeah, and I also noticed something new this year. They have the judge's chamber up there underneath that first deck in right field for Aaron Judge, the new rookie.
2-2 on Moustakas.
They call it Judge's chambers.
Into center field, Aaron Hicks is out there tonight. Jacoby Ellsbury, who always seems to do well against the Royals, is not in the starting lineup. And there are 2 down in the first inning. And now Lorenzo Cain with 2 down. Michael Pineda, as Hud said, typically throwing strikes. You really don't go into the game expecting to pile up the walks against him. But Pineda has fallen behind 1-0 on each of the first 3 hitters.
And you know, both hitters have hit the ball well enough to get base hits. I just hope they don't have a case of the atom balls tonight. Hit them where they ain't. Find some green grass, get a little rally going.
Shallow right center field. Castro goes out and makes a play in front of Judge. 3 outs in the air against Michael Pineda. Jason Vargas takes the mound when we come back. Baseball is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket played gives back to Missouri schools, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by the Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickup on the road. And you can find yours at your local Mid-America Chevy dealer. Jason Vargas back to the mound for the second time in a week against the Yankees. The first Royals starter to face the Yankees inside a 7-day span since 2003. And Kevin Appier did that. So very rare for that to happen against a non-division team.
Yeah, and you like that if you're a hitter. Now, I don't know too much about what a pitcher thinks about that, but familiarity is really important.
Very difficult for a left-hand batter to hit the ball where Brett Gardner just hit it. That was essentially in line with first base into the 5th deck.
Yeah, that went way up there. It's almost like you hit a wiffle ball up there.
It's almost as if the pitcher was throwing from the first base dugout.
Yeah. Now Vargy, he's the first to tell you he's not going to overthrow, and he's going to mix in his pitches there. Watch this. Get him out of there.
Jammed him, and Merrifield bobbles and throws late. So Gardner, with his speed, is at first base with nobody out.
Too bad. We'll talk about how damp everything is. It rained all day long, and I'm not going to use that as an excuse for him, but that's one of the conditions here. The ball, it basically jumped up on him. It took a little hop up at the last minute. So sometimes that happens. It's unfortunate there. That's the start there. Royals forward around the horn defense. Soler's in left field. Or excuse me, he's in right. Bonifacio's in left. Moose, Escobar, Merrifield from left to right. Hosmer. Salvi at the back of the dish.
Vargas in with a strike to Gary Sanchez. There's Bonifacio taking over in left field while Alex Gordon is back home with the family. And it's 0-2 on Sanchez.
Vargy has a nice move to first base. A lot of guys will try to steal when they do steal off him on first movement. The minute he lifts up his leg, and then he'll throw over and rely on Haas to get the out at second.
Changeup struck him out, so Vargas hits his first strikeout and needed just 3 pitches to get Sanchez.
We showed you his pitches once before, but I want to show them to you again. Look at the percentages. 52% fastballs, changeups are 30, curves at 18. He needs all 3 of those pitches. His changeup's the most effective. Fastball and all those pitches. Usually when he's on, he's keeping him out of the middle of the plate. That's the key for Vargy. Use all 3, keep him off balance, stay out of the middle.
Matt Holliday with a runner at first and 1 out. Being used as the Yankees' designated hitter after spending almost all of his career in the National League, mostly with the Rockies and the Cardinals. Spent a little bit of time with the A's. Big curveball's in for a strike. So you're talking about the curveball, and that has really spiked for Vargas in his last 3 starts. In his first 5 starts, he was using it about 13% of the time, and now almost 1/3 of the time over his last 3. And there he goes with another one.
That's a back legger to the right-hander. He's facing mostly right-handed hitters in that lineup. And speaking from experience, if you've got a 2-pitch guy, a fastball changeup guy, you're going to sit on one of those and you're going to hurt one of those 2 pitches. But if you got that 3rd one in there, that's important. You mix that in there, it throws the hitter's thought process off. So as long as he keeps it down, he's okay with that pitch. Just don't leave it hanging.
Changeup down and away.
Stays up in the zone. The hitters put a good swing on it.
And that's really the feeling about Vargas in his first start against the Yankees, that it was more him than it was the Yankees' approach against him. A little bit high, 3 balls, 1 strike. I always find it interesting. You know, the Yankees have a big game against Vargas. So from their side, they had a great approach. They got some good pitches to hit. But from the Royals side, as Ned Yost put it, Vargas was just flat. He didn't locate his pitches well at all. There's a well-located fastball, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That's right, and a hitter's count, 3-1. So when he locates and stays out of the middle, like he was so great his first several starts this year, he'll give hitters fits. And the left-handed batters have been hitting him a little bit better the last few starts. Five for 5 is Gardner this year in steals. Track's not wet. They had a tarp covering it. They watered the infield before the game like they would a typical night, even with all the rain.
That is a foul ball. And Vargas tried to get down in a position like a catcher when he realized that Salvi may be thrown down to second base.
Check Salvi out, the quickness of him. Incredible. Watch this. He would have had him out at first and probably would have turned too. He's just cat-like quick. He throws it off. He's great at picking it up off the ground. That's one of his natural strengths and gifts.
Holiday walks, and the Yankees have base runners thanks to an error and a walk.
See, the lefties have been getting a little bit more contact off him because he's hung a few breaking balls to lefties, mainly Gardner. Gardner's got a hit off him at the K on a hanging breaking ball. It actually wasn't a real hanger, but it stayed up and he went to left field on him. The righties is dominating, and usually the right-handers have the bigger numbers, so that's good that he's got the average down on the righties.
Two on for Starlin Castro. Curveball drops in for a strike. Castro is off to a great start. Among the league leaders, at least in the top 5 in the American League in batting average, runs scored, hits, and multi-hit games.
Put him in the lane. He's grounded in 3 already this year. Vargy like to help pick up Whitley Merrifield here. He's been as good as any number 4 hitter, minus the power, but that's why he's batting 4th for the Yankees. He's got a lot of production, and the reason his average is so high, because he's using right field. He is using the whole field, hitting it where it's pitched. Vargy trying to backdoor breaking ball him.
Caught by Escobar, and Gardner didn't check the defense. He was on his way to 3rd. So it wasn't a ground ball double play, but a double play nonetheless to get Vargas out of the 1st. tenured current Yankee, and he made a young player's mistake, allowing himself to be doubled up on the line drive by Castro. That left Aaron Judge, the league's home run leader, on the on-deck circle to end the inning.
It's a good thing for us, for Vargy.
Eric Hosmer, big weekend against Minnesota. 5 runs scored, as well as a home run. He hit that yesterday during the doubleheader, and he lines that pitch foul into the crowd off the left field line. And Hosmer just keeps adding points to his batting average. Doesn't seem like that long ago Hosmer was hitting 185. It's about 3.5 weeks ago, and now he's at 309 coming into tonight. So he's back on track. He has the highest batting average in May. He has the most hits in May. 9th most runs scored. May have cracked his bat with that swing. He's down at the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. 408 in May. You're wondering where that would rank in Royals history. Paulo Orlando actually last year set the Royals record for batting average in May. He hit 429. And sad to hear yesterday that Paulo's going to be on the disabled list for a while. He fouled a ball off of his left leg and broke his leg.
Yeah, bummer. That's for sure. And you know, Haas is getting it done by going to the opposite field. There's no secret. Game's been played a long time. Some of us just happen to pass through for a short period. But you want to hit for a high average, you got to use the whole field.
Yankees, at least on the infield, don't think that Haas is going to use the whole field. They play him to pull, and he does pull it. Gregorius, the shortstop, over to the right side. 1 down. And now Salvador Perez tied a Royals record yesterday with 3 home runs in a doubleheader, tying Bill Pecota, who did that here in New York back in 1989. And now as we look at our Kubota power stats, he has tied Mike McFarland for the most home runs as a Royals catcher at 93. Oh, and 1 from Michael Pineda. $11 home runs for Salvi, taking over the team lead, and that's 6th in the American League. 1 ball and 1 strike.
27 years old, and he's in his 6th season in the big leagues. It's pretty good.
There's a slider, which Pineda throws a lot and usually very effectively.
Salvi is a .391 hitter with 2 homers off Pineda.
Broken bat, and Headley has enough room to bring it down, 2 away.
It's a lot of sliders there. But you know what? We're seeing some statistics like this almost in every game for a lot of starters, ours included. A lot of breaking balls. And the reason they throw them, they're hard to hit, especially when they have downward movement. The more lateral the slider, it stays in the hitting zone longer. You can hit those a little bit easier. But those ones that go straight down, they look like a fastball. You can't pick up the rotation, and they're under your bat.
1-1 on Brandon Moss. 5-game hitting streak for him. He hit 2 home runs in game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday.
1 with backspin and 1 with topspin.
There's the Pineda slider, 1-2. Royals hit 7 home runs yesterday, 4 in game 1 and then 3 in game 2. Minnesota also hit 3 in game 2. So much for target field not being a very good place to hit and hit home runs. We saw 10 yesterday.
Yeah, Ball was flying. As cold as it was.
Pineda gets the strikeout. Sanchez down to first, and that's the inning. That's Pineda's first strikeout. Aaron Judge with his 15 home runs will lead off the bottom of the second. In the Bronx, New York, after all the rain today, and all rise as the judge steps to the plate. And he seems to be taking it all in stride. I mean, it's enough pressure as it is to be playing in New York for the Yankees and then be a rookie. And he already has his own cheering section. And even on the big video board in center field as he came to the plate, they had a gavel and an all rise animation up there. But if anyone is going to be able to carry that on their shoulders, it would be somebody who's 6'8".
Yeah, and he has a great disposition about him. He'll be fine. Good upbringing. He was adopted as a young person and grew up in Stockton, California. His mom and dad both went to Fresno State University, and that's where he went.
We mentioned the great catch that he made yesterday in right field in St. Petersburg. At the plate, however, he went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, putting an end to an 8-game hitting streak, which had been a career high in his young career. But this catch is not one you'd expect from somebody who is 6'8".
No, he can move. I mean, he's highly athletic, good speed. He can steal some bases.
Off the end of the bat. Kane made the play. The reaction of the crowd, and you can understand, he's so big, he's hit so many home runs, so many tape measure home runs, that if he hits anything in the air, that's going to get everyone out of their seats.
Yeah, you know, this overcast twilight sky, I lost it. I couldn't see it. And sometimes outfielders will miss as well, but Fargy doing a good job so far to keep him in the yard.
One out to Aaron Hicks. And his start to the season has been an impressive one. For years, the Minnesota Twins were waiting on Aaron Hicks. As their first-round pick in 2008, he was their #1 prospect and just never could get it going at the big league level with the Twins. That's hit well to right field. Soler at the track, and he's got just enough room. 2 down.
Don't have to hit it real well to get it out to right field here. But now it's a little bit more right center, and that's a good thing. And that's the right approach against Vargy. It was elevated, and it was out over the middle of the plate. Plenty of room, though, for Soler.
And now Didi Gregorius with 2 down. And he was another Yankee that had a big series against the Royals. And batting .322 to start the season. Missed the first 2 weeks with a bruised right shoulder, which he injured in the World Baseball Classic. In the ugliest inning for Vargas, a 5-run 4th inning, Aaron Hicks hit a 3-run home run, but it was the base hit by Gregorius before the Hicks home run that Vargas was talking about after the game. They had a long battle. Vargas was ahead. Gregorius just kept fouling off pitch after pitch. He finally got an RBI single, and that kind of turned the inning around for the Yankees, and then Hicks hit the 3-run home run. And that is hit hard to right field. It's over Soler's head. Could be a chance for a play at second base, and Gregorius, he knows his home ballpark, and he holds with a long single.
Getting some good wood on Vargy this inning here, and it's because some of those pitches are just elevated.
That'll bring up the switch hitter Chase Headley, Yankee third baseman. A high strike. Headley's hitting .241, but after the first 2 weeks of the season, he was hitting .396. So he's been in a tailspin over his last 48 at bats. 5 for his last 48. That's 104.
Streaky. He's a streaky hitter.
Curveballs a little bit inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. A lot of things going on with Chase Headley's swing and his stance. A lot of movement, a lot of twitching going on, and I wonder if that lends itself to being streaky.
It does. Sometimes switch hitters, even this late in your career, like Headley, go to one side of the plate and stay.
Got the call with the low strike, 3-2.
I know a former teammate of mine, JT Snow, won 6 Gold Gloves, was a switch hitter, and he just settled for the left side of the plate, stayed on it. Just too much thinking. It's too much going on.
Well, it's hard enough to manage one swing,
Yeah.
let alone having to deal with 2 different swings. Gregorius was running, and it's fouled away. The fan.
He caught it off the rail.
Did it ricochet off the rail?
It did. It got him, but it's good. I don't see any cuts or anything. He's all right. It's kind of a shock. He went to catch it, and it hit the rail right above him and ricocheted. Good pitch. Nice job, Vargy.
That's his second strikeout. And he begins his evening with 2 scoreless in New York. and Jorge Bonifacio will lead off. He is in left field because Alex Gordon was able to go home, and he and wife Jamie welcome Joey Lynn Gordon, 9 pounds 1 ounce. So Max and Sam have a little baby sister.
Woohoo! Congratulations, Alex. Way to go. And look at Jamie. She doesn't look like she had a baby.
She doesn't. I noticed that too. That looks like a stork delivered that baby.
I'm telling you. Way to go, Alex. And Jamie. All right.
Bonifacio puts a charge into one and drives Gardner to the wall. That's gone. Bonifacio, who hit 2 home runs in the Minnesota series, homers in his first at-bat at Yankee Stadium.
And I'll tell you, the crowd knew when that ball took off, it had some type of launch angle and trajectory. Hip, hip, Jorge. That's what we're talking about. That was swung on, gone. He hit that to the sky. Love that front foot. Doesn't even move. He just trusts those hands and launched it. .39-degree launch angle. That got it done. Enough for his 5th.
One and one on Soler.
Very nice. Real speed down the middle. You don't miss those, and he doesn't. That's a mistake. And I was sharing with former Yankee great Paul O'Neill next door. He's asking me about Bonifacio, some of these new players he hasn't seen before. And I said, watch out, this kid here, he's got great hand-eye coordination, wonderful hands. He barely strides with that front foot. He's dangerous. He don't miss mistakes. And there it was right there.
That's Pineda's second strikeout as he gets Soler. Well, we were just talking about Headley, Chase Headley, the Yankees that half inning before, and how he's streaky with a lot of movement, a lot of moving parts. Bonifacio, very simple, very quiet, as they say in the batter's box.
Quiet and very handsy. Trust those hands. Strong. Great demeanor, too. I wish I had his demeanor when I played. He very calm, under control, doesn't get too excited. That's what you want in this game. Even keeled as you can be, the better off you are.
Whit Merrifield is batting 9th tonight and playing at second base. Off of Pineda. And no play.
Smart by Pineda. And Whitley, once he made contact and hit Pineda, he wasn't even out of the box yet. He said, I'm getting my base hit. That should have went through. I'm getting it. And he can run. Look at him. Look at him. He's going hard. Not sure if that would have got through over there if Castro would have gotten it. It's 3 infield hits for Whitley now. The 2 bunts. And that little stroke right there. 8-game hitting streak. Keep it up.
He's got his batting average back into a more respectable 250s.
He's a 270, 280 hitter in my opinion. Full season. And I believe Whitley's an everyday player, but you know, it's not up to me. It's up to the brass, the higher minds. But he could be a utility guy too because of the positions he can play. But he's got a good bat. That's what's going to keep him in there. And the fact that he can do the little things. He can bunt, push. He can get guys on, get them over. He does a lot.
Fouled away by Escobar, and here's the last bat the Royals need to get going. Alcides Escobar fly to right in the first inning. He's hitting 179. And we're past the quarter pole of the season. And he is still yet to steal a base.
Yep.
And making way too many outs in the air for his style of play.
I totally agree, and he would agree with you as well. Stole the last 3 seasons, 14, he stole 31 bags, then he stole 17 and 15 and 17 last season. Escobar we're talking about. Whitley's got 3 steals on the young season. But you know, you asked Ned today in his office if he had any concerns about Escobar. And you know, he said, look, he's a .262 career hitter. He should hit to those numbers this year. He's got a track record. We expect him to get hot, like Moss is starting to bring his stuff up, his average. We believe Esky should get to his numbers, maybe a little below those this year, but he's patient with him. Ned's patient. And they still have a winning record with Escobar in the leadoff spot.
One and two, and that's what teams are trying to do to him now when they get ahead in the count. Pitch him up.
And it's up to him to make the adjustment to look down. Even if you have to squat your legs a little bit, make yourself even a lower target. Anything you could do to make a little adjustment to keep you off of those pitches.
Royals are 8-5 this year, with Escobar leading off. 33 games above 500 if you combine all the years he's led off. And they were 13 games above 500 in the playoffs when he led off. Even though there is no big spike for him offensively when he leads off. There's a hard hit ball past the third baseman Headley.
Come on, Whitley.
He will round third and score, and Escobar holds with a double. So Escobar with a pitch up, rather than trying to lift it, he got on top of it. And the Royals take a 2-0 lead in the third inning.
Mistake. Slider, just a floater. I mean, that's saying hit me all over it. Esky's not going to miss that one. Ball kicked hard off the lower part of that cement wall there, and Gardner couldn't handle it. Wouldn't have got Whitley, I don't believe, anyway, if he'd have picked it up cleanly. Whitley was on his horse, and there's nothing better for a runner at first base than that ball to double down the line. You see it all the way around second. You can see it. You can make up your own mind, basically, if you're coming home. 9th double. Now that leads the Royals in a category.
Moustakas to right field. Judge is there. Didn't quite square it up enough to get it over Judge's head. Escobar tags and goes to third. So Moustakas has lined to the outfield twice, and he's 0 for 2. Runner at third for Lorenzo Cain. He popped out to the second baseman Castro in the first. Pineda, remember, was hit by Merrifield's line drive, and the Yankees never really came out and took a look at him. And now he's acting as though we don't see him every day. We don't know his mannerisms and his body language, but he looks like he's uncomfortable. Off the end of the bat, 0-1 on Cain.
Let's take a look at this line drive here. Hit off, it looked like his right heel. He played it off as best he could, but that hurt. Now I think Castro, by looking at Castro's movement in back of him, I think he probably would have got to it. I don't know if he would have thrown him out or not.
Cain unhappy he didn't do more with that slider. Lorenzo is just 1 for 13, that is, in the Minnesota series. He had a big series here last May when the Royals were here in New York with his first 3 home run game and ended up with 9 RBIs against the Yankees last year. Slider in the dirt, strikes him out, and ends the inning. Royals get 2. Jorge Bonifacio opens the inning with a home run. Merrifield singles. Escobar gets him home with a double.
Making his first ever appearance here at Yankee Stadium. Joel Goldberg back down by the Royals dugout. Witt has been to Yankee Stadium before, but it was the one across the street, and that was back in 2008. Look at a young Witt there, college kid at that point, with his dad Bill and his little brother Height, who's now a high school star. Guys, there's a story behind this picture and that event. We know that his father Bill works at Wake Forest. The athletic director at Wake Forest was actually Joe Girardi's head coach at Northwestern when Joe played college baseball. So all these years later, Ron Wellman working with Bill Merrifield, and it was Joe Girardi in 2008 that left 3 tickets for the Merrifields. And Witt remembers to this day seeing A-Rod homer and the Royals play the Toronto Blue Jays. He remembers David Eckstein as a Toronto Blue Jay. For Witt, growing up, his favorite team was the Yankees. Didn't have a team in North Carolina. His idol was Derek Jeter. He would like, and Hud, you may be able to help with this, to thank Joe Girardi at some point for those tickets and maybe get a chance to meet him.
Oh, Joe would have set me up. That's easy. When you have a manager like Girardi, you know, excellent personality, he'd love to hear that. You know, he may remember, as he don't, oh man. It's going to stay in. Yeah, Joe, we'll work on it, buddy. Good job, good report. I like that. Hey, you know, Height is a football player now in high school, and Whitley says what he loves in the offseason to do now is to go home and watch his brother play football. He's a wide receiver, big kid. But I'm going to check with Joe and see if we can hook those guys up.
Well, so far, Witt has a base hit and a run scored in the first 3 innings against Girardi's Yankees. Second time through for the Yankees. They had just 1 hit in their first turn against Jason Vargas, and now Brett Gardner, who reached on an error his first time up. A leadoff hitter who's really not hitting like a leadoff hitter in a good way. Our Toyota League leaders. Here's where he ranks among leadoff hitters. Run scored, that is priority number 1 for a leadoff hitter. But he's also hitting a lot of home runs and driving in a lot of runs by way of the home run. 8 home runs in his last 20 games.
They talked about trading him in the offseason, moving him. But one of the reasons why he's having such a good season is he's hitting the ball to left field. He's not trying to do too much. And when you see the ball long longer and you take those easy swings to left field, you recognize the inside pitch better for some reason, and you turn and burn on it. Look where Salvi's target is. It's exactly where he wants Vargy to put it. Down, so if he does make contact, he hits it right at somebody.
Ooh. I don't think we're going to see that one again. Huh? Gardner hits another home run. 9 home runs for the Yankees leadoff man. And he's done that in his last 21 games.
They've been hitting Vargy pretty hard here, and he's been fortunate they've had some guys, but see, that was elevated. Remember we talked about how low you need to go, and he gave him a cookie. And he didn't miss it.
And still only 3 home runs allowed by Vargas all year in over 50 innings.
First one to a left-hander.
Big curveball for a strike. He's thrown more curveballs than changeups against the Yankees so far. He has been ahead 0-1 on 9 of 11 hitters. And it's 0-2 on Sanchez. And Sanchez struck out on just 3 pitches when he faced Vargas in the first inning. Vargas got him with a change. And he struck him out on 3 pitches and got him with a change again.
Very nice. Look at where Salvi is. Make sure to get him to swing off the plate, perfectly located. It's a teaser. It really can mess with a hitter. You can see Vargas this season where he ranks.
Even giving up 6 runs in 4 innings to the Yankees, he still has the 2nd best earned run average in the American League. He had the best ERA in the major leagues before that start against New York, just a shade over 1. Matt Holliday walked his first time, and he's down 0-2. And he's down on 3 straight pitches. So Vargas responds after the home run to Gardner, getting strikeouts of Sanchez and Holliday. 2-1 Royals to the 4th. Yankees get one in the third on the Brett Gardner home run. Remember, if you can't watch a game on TV, you can stream games live on your mobile device. Just download the Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Royals. Eric Hosmer, Salvador Perez, and Brandon Moss coming up. Outside for ball one. Hosmer grounded to short, leading off the second inning, and now he leads off the fourth inning. One and one.
Haas has the right idea. Looking at Pineda's fastball, that two-seam hits running away from him. And that's right into his strength, going to the left center field. That's right, lay off the slider.
Line to left field, and Gardner will not get there. Grabs it with his bare hand off the wall, but Hosmer beats the throw with a leadoff double.
Seventh double, and Gardner, you ain't catching that one. You might have to check your forehead for tracer burns. That ball went over your head. That's probably 110 hit speed. Nice easy swing right in Haas's wheelhouse, right where he likes to hit it. Look at that thing, was a heat seeker. Good play off the wall. Not quite in Alex Gordon's league, but it was a good try. Alex catches it, spins and fires and throws out whoever's running. .110 hit speed.
Boy, you know your hit speeds.
Rest my case.
Yep.
For years, Rhino, being an infielder, there were some balls that were scalded at me that I thought I was going to swallow. And it's nice to finally know how hard they're hit, because I could tell by how hard they were hit at times that, like, that's not normal. That's not natural. That'll kill you. If you don't catch it just right, you're in trouble. So it's nice to finally get a gauge on that. There was some times in batting practice when big, strong men were out there taking batting practice at 60 miles an hour. The coach would throw in there, and I'd be taking my ground balls at second. I just said, hey, stop hitting me balls. I'm just going to wait till these guys are done, because I want to protect myself in case they hit one at me. I mean, it's dangerous. If you're concentrating on catching a little ground ball and they take a swing and it hits one right at you, you're in trouble.
Salvi fouled to third first time up. Two and one.
Salvi's so comfortable bellying up on that dish. He's right up there on that plate. He's been hit a few times this year, but he's crowding the plate, because whenever they try to get in and they miss, it's his for the taking. And he's got plenty of power from center field on to left. He hadn't been missing a lot of those mistakes.
Two and two.
See, there he is. He's right up on that plate, and he wants to pull, but he does have a knack of going the other way sometimes when he's thinking about it with two strikes.
Still 2-2.
Base hit, if he does, Salvi get one to right field. Judge has a really good arm. He's got 3 outfield assists this year. Hicks, I don't think he's got a chance to throw him out from center, and Gardner has an average arm in left.
Wasn't Hicks the guy who got clocked last year throwing a ball from the outfield at 105 miles an hour or something crazy like that?
Might have been Hicks. But they're just so far back, it's hard for them to throw a guy out. He's got a good arm.
I think it was might have been Danny Valencia.
Not sure who it was.
Pineda still just doesn't seem right. A lot of fidgeting, a lot of long walks behind the mound in between pitches.
Some grimacing.
Fouled away. Yeah, now they clocked it just based on the distance and the time that Aaron Hicks threw a ball from left field last year and threw out former Twins great, Orioles great, A's great, and Mariner great Danny Valencia.
That's right.
Blue Jays great.
It was from left field.
It was from left field.
Okay. Center field's, you're just so far back out there. By the time the ball gets to you, it's hard to throw a runner out, but you can, and he's got a good arm.
Long battle. Pineda refusing to give in to Salvi. One slider after another.
And I believe this is the 9th pitch coming. Wait out the mistake.
Forgot about the Red Sox. Valencia played for the Red Sox too.
He was great for a lot of teams, wasn't he?
That is foul. Impressive that he got to that ball and hit it as far as he did.
All of the last 4 swings with the 10th pitch coming now, he's been trying to pull him. And because they're pitching him inside. I mean, the breaking ball's coming in there. You can see the catcher, Gary Sanchez, setting up inside. Now they're going to go away, trying to go away.
Another foul ball.
You just absolutely love these type of at-bats if you're a hitter. And if you're a pitcher, you're going, really? What am I going to do?
It was 2-0, and now he's fouled off 8 pitches in a row.
That's amazing. How do I get this guy out? Now we know Salvi's not exactly a keyhole type hitter with the ball just right in that keyhole. He's a bad ball hitter, and he'll hit those pitches that they're not intending to throw for strikes.
And he was not stuck in swing mode, as you say, and now it's 3-2.
Okay, now let's show you where some of these pitches have been. Pineda, check them out here. Look at that. There's only been 2 in the strike zone. Win the at-bat and you break Pineda's heart. And you can win it with just a walk or a knock, or a big fly.
Got a pop-up. Carter makes a play, 1 down. So Hosmer at second base with 1 out. Brandon Moss coming up. And it's time for our sprint trivia question. Who has the most home runs in a single season at new Yankee Stadium? So that goes back to 2009. Chances are pretty good it's a Yankee. So let's see. How about Mark Teixeira? It is not Mark Teixeira. It is somebody who hit 26 home runs in one season here. How many total that year for this particular player? Here's Brandon Moss. Let's see if he gets a mistake. A fastball riding away from him. So Pineda wins the battle with Salvador Perez, but you have to ask yourself, how much of that at bat did that take out of Pineda?
Yeah. Still, just because you didn't beat him in it, you still milked his pitch count.
Delayed call, 0-2. $18 pitches in this inning, 12 of which were in the matchup with Salvador Perez. Pineda struck out Moss in the second inning with a slider. Three-pitch strikeout, and there are two down. All right, Hud, the answer to our trivia question: hit 43 home runs that year. 26 were here at Yankee Stadium.
A-Rod?
It is not Alex Rodriguez. So Hosmer with that leadoff double is still at second base, and now Bonifacio is already homered tonight. Oh, 0-1. Bonifacio becomes the second Royal on the field tonight to homer in his first plate appearance at Yankee Stadium, and the fifth Royal all time. Butch Davis, Lonnie Smith, Harvey Pulliam. How about Robinson Cano? It was not Robinson Cano.
Good guess. I got a hint. He wore pinstripes.
Well, we know it wasn't Salvador Perez.
Right.
One ball, two strikes. Come on, Hud, let's go.
I don't know my
Carlos Beltran. He never hit that many home runs here, did he? No. In the dirt, Sanchez down to Carter, and that's the inning. So Pineda gives up a leadoff double. It takes 12 pitches to get Salvador Perez, and then he strikes out Moss and Bonifacio. by Ford, going further so you can. By Panera Bread. Panera caters for every group, every size, every meal. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. That, I believe, is the location of old Yankee Stadium, where the skin of the old infield still remains. Where one Rex Hudler made his big league debut, right?
Yeah, I got my first big league hit there, and I did leave some skin on that field.
Al Nipper, right?
It was Al Nipper.
Hit hard, but Soler makes a play on the edge of the track. Okay, Hud, I got a hint.
What, you sure?
By way of a text.
It's not Teixeira.
It's not Teixeira. Our sprint trivia question: who has the most home runs in a single season at New Yankee Stadium? We saw him in the 2015 World Series.
It's not Cespedes. He didn't play for the Yankees.
That is correct. It was not Michael Conforto, who hit 26 home runs in that World Series.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge flied to center his first time up. 1-1. It is easy to forget that Curtis Granderson played here in New York for the Yankees in between the Tigers and the Mets. 40. I didn't know he had 43 home runs one year, though.
Oh, good question today. You guys won. You got us.
This ballpark was made for him. 1-0 truck to begin this series.
All righty.
2-2 on Judge. He might have hit 2 home runs in the World Series. Didn't he have a lead? He had a leadoff home run one of the games. Just inside. He hit 3 home runs in that World Series. I beg your pardon. Still 3-2. We saw just 3 games from Aaron Judge when the Yankees were at Kauffman Stadium late last year. So it's not fair to evaluate him on those games, but he looked overwhelmed. He looked overmatched. He looked like he was a guess hitter, and he is so much more under control. And he takes a walk with 1 out. That's Vargas' second walk. So 1-on-1 out for Aaron Hicks. There's no better way to enjoy a Royals game than with a group of friends, employees, or customers. Receive discounted ticket rates and a complimentary message on the outfield scoreboard when you purchase 20 or more tickets. Large groups also have the opportunity for complimentary tickets, on-field presentations, and batting practice field visits. So call the Royals or email groupsales@royals.com for rates and availability.
Judge, for as big as he is, you'd think that he couldn't run, but he's stolen 4 out of 5 bases this year.
Hicks takes down and in.
Hicks has grounded into 5 double plays so far this year. That's what Vargy wants to get out of this one. Keep the pitch count down.
Big curveball falls out of the sky. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Vargy's to do 6 ground ball double plays. He can roll them up.
Bat is out in front of the plate. Salvi will go to first. 2 down, and Judge moves up to second base.
Right idea. Just couldn't get him to cooperate to hit it any harder.
And that would be technically Jason Vargas' first ground ball out.
Okay.
Everything else in the air or a strikeout. And now they'll talk over what they want to do with Didi Gregorius. HUD showed you that Vargas is not your typical lefty who has a big advantage over left-hand batters. And Gregorius is not your typical left-hand batter who struggles against left-hand pitching. He's already singled to right. That was in the second inning, but that single to right went off the wall. But because of the short dimensions and the way Soler played the bounce, Gregorius had to hold with a single. Hit hard, hit far, and very foul. So there you go. 348 against lefties, Didi Gregorius. And if you combine this year and last year, he's hitting almost 330 against lefties. So he really hangs in there well against left-hand pitchers.
He does. So be careful with those, the loop and curve. That's the one he got him at the K. Got that base hit off. Oh, man.
That ball is way back into the second deck. And for the first time tonight, the Yankees take the lead as Didi Gregorius gets another big hit against a left-hand pitcher.
It's right down that wheelhouse. That's in.
A one-handed swing.
Yeah. He's going good. Very confident young hitter.
Look at that.
Yeah.
How do you hit a ball that far with a swing like that?
Just let the bottom hand take over. And for left-handers, you know, when it's down on that spot, all they do is go right down with that bottom hand. And if you catch it, get up underneath that ball, it carries. You see how it gets the backspin.
Obviously, if you didn't tell Vargas what the final result was going to be, but you said to him, if you throw this pitch, you're going to get a one-handed swing out of him. Would you take it?
Yeah.
He'd say yes every time.
I think he'd roll it over.
400-foot home run to right field, basically with one arm. Headley going for it all. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He took a called third strike in the second inning. And now he helps out Vargas by going after a change, and he strikes out for a second time. Yankees get a 1-out walk to Judge and a 2-out home run from Didi Gregorius. 3-2 New York.
our showstopper, and the showstopper taking place in St. Petersburg. Stop me if we haven't seen this lately. Corey Dickerson has 12 home runs on the season. 6 of them have come in the last 6 games. And the Yankees can certainly attest to that. He had 2 homers on Saturday against the Yankees, and Dickerson going deep again this time. So he is red hot for the Rays.
Corey Dickerson, along with Logan Morrison, who grew up in Kansas City, both have 10+ home runs. Joey Gallo and Mike Napoli of the Rangers both have 10+ home runs. Joel telling me that Logan Morrison homered again tonight for the Rays, so he has 12. Yonder Alonso and Chris Davis of the A's both have 10+ home runs, and Salvador Perez and Mike Moustakas both have 10+. Those are the only duos in the American League, each with 10 or more home runs. Soler struck out on a slider his first time up, and that slider is way outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1. Pineda has labored tonight, even though he's pitching with the lead. Labored is the first word that pops into my mind when I watch him around the mound in between batters and pitches.
Yep. It's body language to tell you.
3 and 2. Leadoff walk. Last thing Pineda wanted to do after his team just gave him the lead. Time for our University of Kansas Health System injury report. Brian McCann placed on the disabled list yesterday with a concussion. And the Astros also lost Dallas Keuchel. He had a pinched nerve in his neck. Brian McCann played here in New York and was traded from the Yankees to the Astros, and he, along with Carlos Beltran, are getting a lot of credit for helping take the Astros to the next level, although they were just swept at home by the Indians. So they are without Brian McCann and without Dallas Keuchel, but still have the best record in the American League, the Houston Astros, followed by the Yankees. Merrifield singled off of Pineda in the 3rd inning. 0-2. And that was the count in the 3rd inning when he hit a line drive right back at the Yankees pitcher and then reached and scored on an Alcides Escobar double. And that skips way away from Sanchez.
There he is.
Ball got away from the catcher. That shot away from the catcher.
Sure did. Hit shin guard, took off. Oh, looked like it went off his wrist. There he is in scoring position.
So runner at second, nobody out, and that's what the Royals had in the 4th inning after Hosmer's double. Runner at second, nobody out. Pineda got the next 3. So Merrifield, at the minimum, needs to get Soler over to 3rd.
That's right. Try to shoot it to the right side if you can.
Best he could do is a ground ball to 3rd, and that pitch was in on him, and he had to protect with 2 strikes. 1 down. Up comes Escobar. Doubled up the left field line, driving in Merrifield in the third inning. He's 1 for 2. He's probably the nicest guy you'll ever meet, but if I played defense for the Yankees, I would think Michael Pineda would be the last guy I would want on the mound.
Yeah, you know. That's not going to work.
Not by Judge. 2 down. Got Escobar to go after a first pitch slider. Wildcat fans, make sure you get your K-State night theme ticket for June 2nd when the Royals take on the Indians. The first 5,000 fans through Gate A with this theme ticket receive a limited edition K-State branded Royals cap courtesy of Fox Sports Kansas City and Rally House. You can purchase your ticket at royals.com/theme tickets. Well, Mike Moustakas is 0 for 2, and yet he is line to center and line to right in his first 2 at-bats. Off the end of the bat, 0-1.
But he took a little something off of that.
Grounded right to Castro, who goes down to a knee. And for the second straight inning, the Royals had a runner at second with nobody out and failed to score. Have homered twice, and they lead 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning and welcome in Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. And Jason Vargas has been hurt by a left-hand batter on both occasions.
Yeah, it's interesting, and to look at Vargas tonight, maybe not quite as crisp and sharp as we saw him in the first 5 or 6 starts he made during the season. You know, some balls hit hard at guys, but he's making some, making contact, getting some outs in the air. But I think all in all, Vargas, just like a hitter going through some streaks and slumps. He's trying to work through a few items right now.
Yeah, and he was so perfect, like you said. His first 4 starts of the year, really. I mean, like, he didn't miss in the middle. it was almost too good to be true. So he's coming back to earth a little bit. You know, up here we talk about if you make a mistake, these big league hitters don't miss them. So that they'll expose those when you do miss over the plate. But it goes to show you when you don't, you have success.
Right, and you know as a hitter when you're really hot, you're seeing the ball well. Same thing goes for a pitcher. You know when you're going through these really nice spells where everything you throw, you're executing properly, and the results show that. We saw that so much from Jason Vargas in his first several starts he made.
He'll get Carter, the number 9 hitter, who hit 41 home runs last year. And then Gardner and Sanchez. Carter flied to left in the 3rd inning. Did you pitch well here? And I can say here because this ballpark is right next door and has the same dimensions as the old ballpark.
Well, you're right. It does look to me exactly like the old ballpark from this vantage point.
Tester.
Salvi. Now a catcher usually throws the mask so that they don't step on it when they're waiting for a pop-up to come down, but Salvi still almost stepped on his mask and luckily didn't roll his ankle.
Yeah, they'll throw it as far away as they can from where they're going to be, but he wasn't exactly sure about this one. See, he was concentrating on the flight of the ball and not the throw of the mask.
So Ryan, to answer your question, I learned from Joel today that I actually did throw the ball pretty well here. I had no idea, but
wow. 1.78 ERA and 25 in the 3rd inning.
I'll say.
Pretty good.
Go, Monty.
But one thing about playing baseball against the Yankees, I just think you get up for that. I mean, it's just it's a challenge. And the history and everything going on in the ballpark. I was talking with Joel about this in the pregame, and singing the national anthem. You're out in the Monument Park, and there's a statue of Babe Ruth, and there's Mickey Mantle, and all these iconic Yankees from the past. I would always get chills just when they would play the anthem and look over and see Babe Ruth's statue there. So really cool.
Well, love him or hate him, they've won 27 World Series. We're in the largest market in the United States. It would be hard not to get up for playing the Yankees, especially here in New York. Kane is there to take care of Gardner, 2 down. You can get access to 30 home games through July for just $99 with the new Ballpark Summer Pass and Student Pass. That includes weekends, buck nights, and giveaways. Or just head out to all the remaining student nights for just $40. You can get your tickets right on your phone, so you can skip the box office lines and walk right in. Learn more at Royals.com/pass today. Well, they're running out of numbers. There are no more single digits available, thanks to Derek Jeter's number being retired, and before that, Joe Torre. Steve Kurtenbacher, director, suggested that the Yankees might become the first franchise that puts letters on the back of the jerseys instead of numbers.
It's not a bad idea.
Batting 5th, letter D, Joe Smith. Letter D. Sanchez, if he strikes out right here, will have 3 strikeouts each on just 3 pitches. That's got to be a record, isn't it?
That's the immaculate hat trick.
Yeah, the immaculate hat trick. 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts for Gary Sanchez.
Hang with him.
the end of 2.5. Now the Yankees lead 3-2 as the Royals come up in the 6th inning. And our Sonic Slam inning contestant is Diana Holloway from Kansas City, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run out of the park in this inning, Diana wins $700. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Diana wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. It'll be Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, and Salvador Perez against Michael Pineda, who, again, I use the word laboring out there. He looks like he just finished the New York City Marathon and is being asked to pitch against the Royals tonight, but he's held the Royals to 2 runs, 4 hits, and in the last 2 innings he worked around a runner at second base and nobody out. Cain is 0 for 2. Kia puts us in the driver's seat. Pineda has walked 1. He has struck out 5, and that's pretty typical for him. Usually among the league leaders in strikeout to walk ratio. Only Chris Sale has a better strikeout to walk ratio in the American League. Pounded foul, and it's 1-2.
Lorenzo is going through a pull mode stage right now. He's trying to pull off a lot of pitches. I think he sees that he only has 1 homer and he should be hitting for more power. Okay, sometimes that'll weigh on a hitter's mind, but when you're pulling off the pitch like that, he's limiting himself.
Pineda did not make an effort to try and field that. He lets Castro, the second baseman, take care of it. 1 down in the 6th inning. And let's go down to Joel.
Thank you very much. Let's take a look at some action in our Panera game break. Phil Hughes put on the disabled list. Kyle Gibson gives up the home run. He comes back as ERA's over 8. That was to Adam Jones. And speaking of home runs, it was back on May 11th, 2011 that Eric Hosmer, who grew up going to some games here, his dad was a huge Yankees fan, and it was Eric Hosmer in his 5th major league game hitting his first big league home run. He told me today he remembers everything. He said off the bat he didn't think it was a homer. Then it ends up in the second deck. He remembers that it was a 3-2 count. He remembers his mom's reaction. He remembers that it was off of A.J. Burnett. And he says he remembers the ball being thrown back in, the boos, and then as he crossed the plate, he looked up into that upper deck down the third base line and saw his parents. He said he has watched that home run and the interview that we did with his family thousands of times. That and the World Series he watches over and over and over again. He said that interview right there and the reaction from his mom, Ileana, he said that was the day that Mama Haas was born.
Yes, she was.
That's a good report, man. Yeah, you see that over and over again. That stays in your memory bank, in your mind, and that's good stuff to remember.
Hosmer's 1 for 3 tonight. And I think I'll always remember, my first memory of Ileana Hosmer is that when Eric was a kid, she would videotape him. And when the game was over, take the videotape back, and Eric with his dad Mike and his older brother Mikey, they'd look at the videotape. Mikey was a player too. Well, Ileana, even though Eric was a big leaguer, she was still videotaping Eric from the seats. And finally we told her, if you really want to see Eric, we can get you high definition from 7 different camera angles if you want to. Put the camera down and enjoy the game.
Right.
But, that motherly instinct of, keeping track of her son and every little thing he does on the field, I don't think that ever goes away.
Yeah, that reminds me, I know when my dad would go to games, he would always find a location where he could not see me if I'm pitching. But they would just keep doing that. The same thing they did when you played in college baseball or high school baseball. They would find a little spot, like a beam or a pillar, and get behind us so he wouldn't see me. He could see everything else but me.
Really?
Yeah, so he did that throughout my career. So I where Ileana, gets that, and as an amateur player, it just stays with you.
Hit hard, and Salvi gets it through the overshift. So he's 1 for 3. Runner at first with 2 down in the 6th inning. So when you would come out of the game then, and your dad would get back in a position where he could see the mound?
Go back to his seat.
It was just too nerve-wracking for him to watch you on the mound?
I think just a little superstition.
Yeah. Brandon Moss has struck out twice against Pineda, who has 5 strikeouts tonight. He is right at 90 pitches. And that's hit hard, but right to Castro. 6 innings. Pineda has allowed 2 runs. And at the end of 5 1/2, the Yankees lead the Royals 3-2. Is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler, Jeff Montgomery up here in the booth with us, along with Joel Goldberg. That is new Yankee Stadium from the site of old Yankee Stadium. Here tonight with director Steve Kurtenbach, producer Brian Shapiro, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, Dave Holtzman, and the producer of Royals Live here in New York is Ed 007 Bond.
Nice.
Good to have Ed back with us.
Yeah, it is.
On loan from the home office in St. Louis.
So we have another steady Eddie.
Hello.
Yes, we do. Monty gets, he's been on vacation. He needs to work a little bit. I'm letting Monty up here and let him talk. And I'm just watching Vargas, hoping Vargas can continue to stay right there. It's going to be tight.
Ball needs to get down, and it does. Fair into the corner. I think that ball may have fooled Bonifacio with the overspin. He was a lot closer to it than we are, but my thought was that ball might end up in the seats. And like a splitter, it just shot down at the last moment.
Did.
Ball was up a little bit, mid-thigh, just enough to stay in a fair territory, Hud.
Yeah, we did.
Not sure if he would have made that catch anyway, but his first looked like his first angle was to go to the wall.
Yeah, but to me it looks like he got a good jump and he was on it, but he just kind of had to back off it at the end there. And then remember, the warning track's the sloppiest part of this field after all that rain today. There's still some puddles. It's still damp down there down in the warning track.
Nice challenge here for Jason Vargas to try to do exactly what Michael Pineda did 2 innings in a row, and that's have a leadoff runner at second, try to hold him out there.
Castro's been shooting that ball to right field. He'll go that way.
Trying to jam him inside and not allow him to shoot it to the opposite field.
And Starling's hit him hard. He lined out to the shortstop and lined out to the right fielder. So Vargas trying to be careful with him, but you got Judge on deck. It's not going to get any easier.
Taking nothing for granted on 3-0.
Throw that changeup. That's good. That messed him up a little bit. See, sometimes when you pull the string on a hitter like that, that'll actually can physically hurt you because you're trying so much to focus on the fastball, and then when you swing and miss, you see him. Looks like it hurt his pecs.
And his helmet came off.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a pretty good changeup when the guy is grabbing his shoulder because he hurts and his helmet came off.
Work last pitch, maybe try it again.
Why not?
He'll take a walk. 2 on, nobody out for Aaron Judge. 3rd walk allowed by Vargas. Come out to the ballpark on Sunday, June 3rd, or Saturday, June 3rd, and Sunday, June 4th, as the Royals celebrate MLB's Play Ball Weekend. For more information on all the ways you can play, visit playball.org. That's Saturday, June 3rd and Sunday, June 4th. So Aaron Judge, who has flied to center and walked. And Vargas throwing his 94th pitch, and it's high for ball 1.
Wants to work the ball down the zone, not just to keep him in the yard, but he's grounded into the 2nd most double plays in the American League with 9. Change ups and breaking balls outer half. Bring it to ground ball.
Because everybody likes to talk about the power numbers from guys like Judge, but this guy's turned into an excellent hitter at a very young stage in his career.
Yeah, so far he's been patient, selective. He's getting his walks.
Ground ball double play would be nice. And remember, every time the Royals turn a double play, the next day McDouble sandwiches are $1 at McDonald's all season long. 3-0. Aaron Hicks is on deck.
Vargas does not have that same rhythm we saw him have so frequently in his first several starts he made.
Three 3-0, he'll be swinging.
It will stay in the ballpark. That ball went as high as it went far. And Bonifacio, that ball was probably hot when it landed in his glove.
That might be one of the highest fly balls I've ever seen.
That had some launch angle.
It did. I like to count the hang time that had. That probably was 7-8 seconds.
Thing was almost in the air for 8 seconds.
Yep.
And now Hicks takes a strike. He is flied out to the warning track in right center field and hit a little tap in front of the plate, and Salvador Perez threw him out. Holiday doubled. He's at second base. Castro's at first. He walked. Vargas is throwing his 99th pitch. And Hicks goes out of the strike zone and misses. 0-2.
Hicks did some damage on the changeup at the K. He hit a 3-run homer off of Vargas last week. So changeup would work. Maybe a backdoor breaker or something down off the outside part of the plate. See if he can swing into a double play.
Good chance right here to expand the strike zone. Doesn't have to be a strike.
Nothing too good.
Going to try and get him with a pitch up. And that's what Vargas does, but Hicks lays off of it. .100 pitches and 5 1/3 innings. He hasn't had really any terribly long innings, but he hasn't had any real quick innings. Had it reaching. Runners will not tag, and now 2 down. Vargas did have a terribly long inning when he faced the Yankees on Wednesday. He had a 49 pitch inning, 49 pitch, 5-run 4th inning. Now Dave Island's going to come out and have a chat with Vargas, and you know what this is all about. You've got Didi Gregorius, who is 2 for 2 with a 2-run home run coming up. And then you have Chase Headley, who has 2 strikeouts on deck. And Headley is 5 for his last 51, so he's hitting under 100 in his last 51 at bats. So how badly do you want to pitch to Gregorius?
Well, from the looks of that swing, I don't know that I'd be very anxious to give him anything that he can put wood on.
Especially he's trying to pull him, and he hit him at the K too. We mentioned how good he's been against left-handed pitching this year. Just be careful. Stay away from him.
So he goes the other way, and Bonifacio is there to run it down.
Now get him some runs and get Vargas the lead. Maybe he'll beat the Yankees for the first time in his career. Come on, fellas.
Top of the 7th inning, Jorge Bonifacio will lead off the 7th. He turned in a ram drive of the game when he led off the 3rd inning.
I'll say, check out all the dimensions there of everything. The distance, the hit velocity, the degree. Monty, I know you're interested in the apex. 125.
That's up there.
You better believe it. That got him started. Hopefully he can tie it up or get on base and see if they can get a rally for Vargy.
Is the goal of all this that at some point the numbers for a home run will be like the radar gun? So like a pitcher throws 99 miles an hour. We go, whoa, man, fastball at 99 miles an hour. Or someday are we going to go, man, that apex 125. Are you kidding me?
Maybe. It's possible.
92 pitches for Pineda, and they're working in the Yankee bullpen. Delayed call. Mike Estabrook calls it a strike, 0-2. Bonifacio, Soler, Merrifield. That's a lower third of the Royals order tonight. Three pitches and a strikeout. 6 for Pineda.
Hard to stay off that slider.
That is Adam Warren waiting in the Yankee bullpen. Well, you may have missed out on a trip to New York, but you can schedule your summer vacation to follow the Royals to Los Angeles when the Royals take on the Dodgers in July. Royals Destinations provides fans with the ultimate game day experience, including tickets, VIP ballpark access, meet and greet receptions with players, optional hotel accommodations, and more. How about a trip to Fenway Park or Camden Yards in Baltimore? If you'd like to book a Royals destination package, go to royals.com/destinations. 1-1 on Soler. He has struck out and he has walked. Jason Vargas turns in a so-called quality start. If in fact he is done, it looks like Manus is still warming up in the Royals bullpen, which would indicate he is done for the night.
Soler doing a nice job laying off some borderline sliders. Hopefully he can get a cookie here. He's due for a homer.
How about a base hit to left field?
All right.
1 on, 1 out. And that'll bring Joe Girardi out of the Yankee dugout. And no drama here. He's 3 steps out and already pointing to the bullpen as Whit Merrifield is coming up. So 98 pitches for Pineda. His manager applauds. The crowd applauds as he departs with a 1-run lead. Royals are up in the Bronx tonight. First of 4 with the Yankees. 3-2 New York. Royals have 1 on, 1 out. In the top of the 7th inning, Chevy called to the bullpen. It's right-hander Adam Warren with Soler at first and Whit Merrifield coming up.
Pretty nice numbers so far. Girardi's going with him. 2.31 ERA. Opponent's average is 150. Hasn't given up a homer. I think he's due for one. Now, Whitley stepping in. Has never faced him before, but Dale has his book of knowledge there. He's sharing with the guys what he's got, certain tendencies, what he might throw. Stay in the middle of the field with your approach. Slider, first pitch. Fastball, he's low to mid-90s. Curveball, slider change. He's got 4 pitches.
Talking about home runs from the Yankees bullpen, only 5 allowed by their entire bullpen. Fewest amount in the American League.
Yep. Hey.
Right idea. Just foul.
It's definitely that porch there, 314.
Now, the major league matchups say that Merrifield has never faced Warren, but Warren went to North Carolina. Witt went to South Carolina. And they were drafted 1 year apart. Oh and 2.
I would imagine that they faced each other somewhere along the line. Because when Dale Swaim, the Royals hitting coach, was sharing his book of knowledge with some of the hitters, Whitley was not anywhere around him. He says, I know him.
They both went to high school in North Carolina.
We'll get the skinny on it.
This could be, man. This could be a lot on the line right here.
There is. It's 2-strike approach. You see Whitley got choked up on the bat a little bit here. Just looking to try to find a hole. Anyway, he's battling. Whole thing is 2-strike approach on a corner right there. Good swing.
I'd like to see that one again.
Yes, he would. Pick him up. May not at his best stuff, but he kept his team in the game, and he's never beaten the Yankees before. He's got a chance this inning. They got to do something. Shoot him to right field.
Skips away, and Kane, or Soler rather, moves up to second base on a wild pitch. Tying run in scoring position for Whit Merrifield. Shot to right field, and Judge is right there.
Right idea.
And up comes Escobar. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI double. If Warren can get through this inning, the Yankees have not lost a game this year when they've had a lead after 7. They are a perfect 21-0. 1-1. Two and 1.
The Yankees have this outstanding record so far this season, and their starting pitching's been decent. Hasn't been great, but this bullpen's been very good for them.
Yes, no doubt about it. And this is an opportunity here. Eske's a .250 hitter with a runner in scoring position. Just stay short to the ball and find a hole. Don't try to do too much. Got Moose on deck, who's due.
Three and one.
Take a walk, although that's hard for Escobar to do. Eske's. He's got 5 walks. See if he can milk a 1 to 6 to get to Moose. That or a base hit.
Up the middle. Castro backhands, throws in the dirt, safe, throw to the plate, and the game is tied.
Yes.
Carter got all caught up with the call at first base, and he hesitated, looking over at first base umpire Marvin Hudson, and then had to be alerted that Soler was rounding third and coming to the plate.
Take nothing for granted. Soler has average speed, but with a good third base coach, and Mike Jerschley just kept him coming. Good play by Castro. Good play. Let's see, they're going to replay this, but let's watch Jerschley at the bottom of your screen. He's sending him the whole way. He's sending him. Soler never stopped, and a good head first slide. Carter, he missed. Oh, this will be a big turn. Still.
Yankees are going to challenge the play at first base. Maybe Carter hesitated because he thought Escobar was out.
Yeah. Did that remind you a little bit of Eric Hosmer scoring in the World Series?
Not quite as much on the line.
No.
And he is. Who's out and who's safe?
Oh, no.
They're going to say Escobar is out at first base. Jerry Lane came out. He made an out call and then a safe call. But with Escobar being out at first base, it doesn't matter about any other play on the bases. So the game is not tied. It is still 3-2 New York. was involved with a play that would have tied the game in the top of the 7th inning, and for a moment the Royals had tied the game. Escobar reaching momentarily on an infield single, and Soler scoring from second base, but the Yankees challenged it. The call was overturned. So Escobar out 6-3. The Yankees lead 3-2, and now Seth Maness is a Chevy call to the bullpen, and that first pitch from Maness was fouled off of Salvador Perez. He's going to come out and have a chat with Maness and Moustakas and try and shake it off. I think he took it off of his left hand.
Yeah, like right on the forearm there. He had some foul tips in Minnesota too. But he's all better now. Maness, sinker, slider. Keep the ball down. Quick tempo.
Headley struck out twice in his at-bats against Vargas. And that sinker's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Maness likes to work quick. Infielders love that. I like his sinker.
Yeah, he does. He looks good. It's just taking him a little bit of time to get coordinated here with his pitching to big league hitters.
On the ground to Merrifield, and there's 1 down. Got a chance to chat with Maness about coming back from his surgery. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's take a look at our unlimited baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. We'll look at that in just a moment. Chris Carter with 1 out.
That's nice, fluid, quick motion with his arm stroke. Come on,
Yeah, and it's got to have some deception there too. He's got that kind of a little hitch in it.
Oh, that ain't coming back.
Ball comes back onto the field, but it was touched by a fan. So Chris Carter hits the Yankees' 3rd home run of the game, and their lead is 4-2. New York Yankees lead the league in team batting average and runs per game, and now they lead the American League in home runs with 3 tonight.
They are made for this ballpark.
Here's Brett Gardner with 1 out. He is homered, and Maness throws a strike. So Maness, as we've told you before, he is coming back from a surgery on his elbow where the ligament, which normally requires a transplant, and the Tommy John surgery, he had it repaired, and trying to become the first major league pitcher to come back from that and pitch in a big league game, which he's already accomplished, but hoping to extend his career beyond just a few appearances. It is much more common, I learned from him today, with younger pitchers. He was first told that he needed a full Tommy John surgery. He didn't want that, so he went and asked for a second opinion. And another doctor, who now happens to be the Cardinals team doctor, said, well, there is another option. We can try and repair the ligament. The ligament tear has to be in a certain part of the elbow. It has to be a certain size. The ligament has to be in good shape. Gardner strikes out, and now 2 down. And all of those things lined up for Seth Maness. And he saw that kids in high school and college were having it successfully, so he took a chance. Now we can take a look at our unlimited baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. Anibal Sanchez is going to AAA for the Tigers. Scott Feldman pitching for the Reds tonight against the Indians. Cincinnati 3 games under 500, 9 strikeouts in 6 innings for Feldman. And the Colorado Rockies have a lead in the 8th inning against the Phillies, 4-1. Colorado 28-17. They have the best record in the National League in Bud Black's first year as their skipper. Manus gives up a home run to Chris Carter, so he allows one in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Yankees lead the Royals 4-2. Baseball is brought to you by Jeep. Test drive a Jeep brand vehicle at the Drive and Discover event going on now. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less. Still overcast in New York tonight. Rain all morning into the early evening, but no delay tonight. This is Tyler Clippard coming on for the top of the 8th inning. Michael Pineda went 6 1/3. Adam Warren got the last 2 outs of the 7th, and now Clippard in the 8th against Moustakas, Kane, and Hosmer, and another Yankees reliever with impressive numbers. 27 strikeouts in 18 2/3 innings.
Yeah, these are the go-to guys for Joe Girardi. Warren and Clippard. 141 opponent average. They're not doing much off it. 90 to 92 fastball. Curve, he has a split finger and a changeup. His changeup's really a good pitch. It's one of his best in the league.
Mike Moustakas is 0 for 3, and that includes 2 lineouts to the outfield. No balls, 2 strikes. One and 2. Mike Moustakas carried an 8-game hitting streak into tonight. Whit Merrifield extended his hitting streak to 8 games tonight. Bonifacio has extended his to 6 games with a home run. Slowly but surely, the Royals offense is coming together. Over the last 2 weeks, the Royals have been averaging just under 5 runs per game. They are 4th in the league in home runs over the last 2 weeks with 21. They've gotten the running game going again. Gregorius wants it and brings it down, and Moustakas is 0 for 4. Lorenzo Cain is 0 for 3. And just 1 for 16 on this trip.
Trying to hit his way out. It's been a little bit too much bull happy. Changeup is very effective. clipper. He's got a couple of different speeds to it. That was it there.
Oh and 2. Good spot for a pitcher, bad spot for a hitter.
Yep.
He did not go around. Marvin Hudson's the first base umpire. It's been a frustrating, familiar theme for the Royals on this road trip. Early leads, and then the offense just kind of drying up. Royals got 2 in the 3rd inning against Pineda. They have not scored since. The Yankees scored 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 7th. Heavily charges and throws in time to get Kane. 2 down. Royals had a lead on Friday night in Minnesota and lost. They had an early lead in the game, second game of the doubleheader yesterday, and ended up losing. Danny Duffy and Jordan Montgomery. That'll be a rematch from the game on Thursday night at Kauffman Stadium, where Duffy was as good that night as he's been any start this year.
That's right. We're hoping for a repeat of that. And I thought Vargas did a pretty good job tonight against the Bombers. Let's wait and see what happens. Still got some time left in this one.
Two down. Here's Eric Hosmer. Yeah, I think against this offense in this ballpark, you would take a quality start from your starter, and that's what Vargas did tonight. Gave up 3 runs in 6 innings, struck out 6. The Royals have been far from shut down by the Yankees tonight. Got the 2 runs in the 3rd inning. The 4th and the 5th innings probably nagging at them as much as any others, because in the 4th, Eric Hosmer reached with a leadoff double. In the 5th inning, Jorge Soler reached with a leadoff walk and went to second on a wild pitch. So that was 2 innings where the Royals had runner at second base and nobody out. So you can look at it 2 ways. Either the Royals didn't execute or Michael Pineda buckled down, but either case, the Royals didn't score in those 2.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a way to, start moving those runners earlier.
Still 1 and 2.
Lead off doubles, you gotta make sure those work. I mean, do all you can to fight to get the ball to the right side. Even if you got to start bunting again, if they got to go back to the fundamentals, do it.
Clippard fields, and that's the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Royals scored 2 in the top of the 3rd inning. They have not scored since, and the Yankees have taken a 4-2 lead. Jorge Bonifacio homered in that 3rd inning. Didi Gregorius, who had a big series in Kansas City last week, he had a 2-run home run in the 4th. That put the Yankees in front, and then Chris Carter added a home run in the 7th. That was against Seth Maness, who stays on for the 8th. To face his former Cardinal teammate Matt Holliday. And Holliday lines it to right field. He is 2 out of 3 tonight. I was talking to Nick Kenny about Seth Maness and getting back to his ulnar collateral ligament. He said there's about a 10-point checklist when considering a pitcher having that ligament repaired as opposed to replaced. Jacoby Ellsbury will run for Matt Holliday. And he said that Maness checked off on 9 of the 10 points.
So he was a candidate.
Line to Witt. Castro is out. 1 away.
Well, I saw Maness in spring training. He was impressive. He looked good. You know, of course, he was just throwing to the side. There wasn't any hitters, but I just liked his compact delivery and his stuff looked good. I think he's going to help out the bullpen.
He was an important part of the Cardinal bullpen. He was a guy that Mike Matheny would point to when they needed some ground balls. Ground ball machine when he's on. I was surprised when he told me that this has been done successfully with high school and college kids.
And he showed me his scar. It's a scar. It's probably about 2 inches maybe. And nothing like the Tommy John cut, but Tommy John's like 2, 3 times the size of his. So there's a procedure there, but it's just not, they're not taking the ligament out of another part of his body and putting it in the elbow.
Usually it's out of the wrist.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's done more with high school and college kids, for the lack of the medical terms, is the tissue is repairable, that the tissue hasn't deteriorated over time, and that you can suture the ligament, but there's still some circulation, there's still the ability for it to help repair itself beyond the suture, whereas a guy who finally has Tommy John surgery in the major leagues, he may have had that tear for 5 or 6 years.
Ellsbury's 8 out of 9 in steal attempts this year. He's good. That's why Maness is keeping him close. There it is. Scar there.
Ellsbury takes off. Salvi's throw, a good one. Gone. Two down.
Quick release, beautiful part. Great spot, first base side of the second. Right to Whitley, is able to apply the tag with no problem. Salvi, quick hands. One of the best.
And now Judge strikes out, so he's hitless tonight. And we go to the 9th inning. The Royals are down by 2. It'll be Perez, Moss, and Bonifacio.
our Honda play of the day, and it was it was Castro. Great play on second base. Starling Castro, he threw Escobar out at first. Too bad because Soler did a great job of running all the way through and would have scored the tying run, but unfortunately Jerry Lane saw it differently. Now I don't know what the safe sign was there, but obviously he forgot the outs. That was the third out.
Dellin Betances has 2 saves, first of which was against the Royals last week. He's filling in as Aroldis Chapman is on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. And he'll get Salvador Perez, Brandon Moss, and Jorge Bonifacio in a 2-run game. Salvi singled in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3.
Big guy will go 95 to 100. Big breaking ball.
Base hit left field. So the tying run. Brandon Moss comes to the plate with nobody out. 2-hit game for Salvador Perez. Let's get a preview of Boulevard Royals Live from Joel.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Jeff Montgomery coming down here, and we will break this down on Boulevard Royals Live. Jason Vargas had a rough one against the Royals last week, back to quality against the Yankees. And then were home runs the biggest difference in this game. New York going deep quite a bit, but the Royals missing on a lot of opportunities. Perhaps they can capitalize here in the 9th. That and reaction coming up.
All right, Brandon Moss takes a curveball for a strike. 0-1 on Moss, who was 0 for 3 against Pineda with a couple of strikeouts. Big curveball and then a fastball 98-99.
Yep, 2 pitches, all you need to close for stuff-wise and weapons-wise. But, you know, do you have the makeup? He does. You have 2 closers to back in, Chapman and Betances. Tyler Clippert, you got Warren, you got a nice bullpen, even though it's hasn't been the best. They do keep the ball in the yard. Monty was saying earlier they've given up the fewest home runs by any bullpen in the American League, just 5.
Just miss. 2-2 on Moss.
Nice to see Moss won't run into one of those hard fastballs.
Broke his bat in half. That's Headley, the third baseman, flipping to the shortstop. 5-6 to cut down Perez at second base, 1 out.
Well, he wasn't sure whether to tag the runner or just to give the ball to Castro there or to Gregorius. Watch this now. See the shift over here. He comes in and he takes it, but look at him. He's not sure. Couldn't get a grip on it. Took the out. That's all you want.
Headley's back to his normal spot for Jorge Bonifacio. Bonifacio led off the 3rd inning with a home run, his 3rd of this trip and his 5th of the year. He's 1 for 3. So Moss is at first with 1 out. Checked his swing and took a strike. Look out. Now, the Yankees may be upset. The crowd may be upset that Bonifacio was not called with a swing, but the rule states that if the bat crosses the so-called plane, the front edge of the plate, was he attempting to strike the baseball there? He was not attempting to strike the baseball.
Self-defense. He's trying to get out of the way. And Uncle Charlie's really tough after a 98-mile-an-hour heater in on you. Got to really discipline yourself off this guy, but it's hard. You commit, you're going to swing.
Chop to Gregorius. They get the out at second, and no double play, and the Royals are still alive. Refreshing saves from Price Chopper and Aquafina. Sign up at mypricechopper.com to save on Aquafina when the Royals get a save. Jorge Soler has struck out, walked, and singled. That is a nasty pitch.
Sure is.
And then remember, he's 6'8", Hud. I mean,
yeah.
So forget about what the radar gun says.
Yeah. Some of his teammates call that the sky hook, but that had a little shorter break to it. He threw that one a little bit harder. It'll buckle you.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He's a local kid. Grew up in Washington Heights. Spent some time in the Lower East Side and Brooklyn. And grew up a Yankees fan. 1-2. This is a test for Betances. He's been historically good setting up for the other guys, but when Andrew Miller and Aroldis Chapman were traded away last year, they gave him the closer's job and he really struggled. It's one thing to take the baton and pass it on to somebody else. It's an entirely different thing to be the last guy who grabs the baton and you've got nobody to pass it to.
Right.
Two and two.
And you know, our Herrera's finding that out too. Same thing. It's not easy, but the stuff is great. It takes some time, some doing, you know. For most closers, it's taken over. I mean, it takes time.
Soria and Herrera are both warming up. Knee buckling curveball. So the Yankees hitting 3 home runs tonight. Gardner, Carter, and Gregorius. They take game 1 of the 4-game series from the Royals 4-2. We'll be back.